Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on our channel. Today we will discuss Texas farmers' brilliant methods for trapping wild boars. So let's get started. As we've established, the Texas wild boar problem is anything but inconsequential. The combination of large population numbers and destructive actions creates a real threat for both agricultural fields and natural environments in the state. Knowledge of the problem scale strengthens the value of innovative farming solutions actively employed by Texas farmers. The population of feral hogs in Texas is several million strong, and their economic impact is staggering, costing the state hundreds of millions of dollars annually simply in agricultural losses alone. Demand for effective control mechanisms rises because of economic consequences, which then enables future innovation development. Wildlife exists beyond agricultural habitats, since destructive boar behavior leads to resource competition and habitat destruction and disease transmission. Wild boars destroy natural plant populations through their rooting activities, which both enhance soil degradation and lead to water contamination. Wild boar ecology, together with their ability to adapt, makes their management particularly hard to control, so multiple evolving strategies remain essential for their control. An analysis of the different components and strategic considerations in the corral trap system will be presented here. The success of a corral trap relies on several salient factors, and they begin with location. Farmers do not simply set these traps anywhere. They set them in strategic areas of boar high-use areas determined by scouting, trail cameras, or even experience with boar behavior. These areas are frequently feeding grounds, travel corridors, or close to water. Close observation of rub marks on trees, wallows in muddy terrain, and tracks can offer valuable insights into boar density and favored corridors. Knowledge of seasonal patterns in boar behavior, such as the shift in foraging behavior based on crop presence or mass production, acorns, nuts, is also essential for best trap placement. The corral's size and shape also count. The larger the corral, the greater the chance of capturing an entire sounder, since it allows more room and less chance for the boars to become trapped too early. Round or oval-shaped corral traps are also better than square or rectangular traps, since they have no corners where boars become trapped and try to break the fence more vigorously. The smallest corral trap size, designed to capture a few adult boars, is usually 30 to 50 feet in diameter. This allows enough room for the animals to move and feel less panicked at first. The fencing material is also a factor to consider. Heavy gauge, woven wire mesh with small openings is commonly used by Texas farmers to keep piglets from escaping. The fence should be high enough to prevent adult boars from jumping over, typically 4 to 5 feet. Posts should be heavy and set deep to withstand the immense pressure from trapped hogs. Some farmers even include electric fencing as a secondary barrier at the bottom or top of the corral. The gauge of the wire is important. The heavier gauge provides more resistance to the boar's struggle to push against or break the fence. Post spacing is also important. Tighter spacing provides more support and less opportunity for the fence to bow or collapse under pressure. Staking or digging at the bottom of the fence can prevent boars from rooting underneath. The gate system is where innovation has most occurred. The aging swing gates with tripwires were prone to faults such as false activation by non-target species or by the boars themselves. Remote-controlled drop gates are far more selective and efficient. They are usually powered electronically or hydraulically and can be triggered as soon as the farmer decides when the target sounder is well inside the enclosure. Infrared or thermal imaging cameras give real-time viewing so that the gate only closes with the desired animals inside the enclosure. The method minimizes both stress on unintended wildlife species and guarantees the complete capture of family groups. Modern systems incorporate sensors which identify animal size and movement patterns, thus reducing unintended catch of deer and livestock and other unwanted species. Baiting techniques continue to be optimized. Farmers test various baits, taking into account seasonal availability and the dietary preferences of the boars at the time. Fermented corn is still favored because of its pungency and hogginess. The fermentation process heightens the aroma, making the bait more enticing over greater distances. Other lures, such as grain sorghum, peanuts, or commercially available hog baits with designated scent profiles, for example, fruit or animal-based, also find application. The most important aspect is being consistent in baiting to build a predictable feeding habit and entice the boars into the trap over a while. Pre-baiting, where bait is introduced within the unfenced boundary to habituate the hogs to the site, is a critical step to enhance the rate of success. The length of the pre-baiting can range from several days to a few weeks, based on the apprehensiveness of the local population of boars. The quantity of bait placed should be adequate to entice the boars, but not in excess to satiate them before reaching the trap. Thermal imaging linked with drone technology represents an important advancement for wild boar control. The nocturnal wildlife detection capability, which allows flights above terrain, delivers special benefits for spotting and following nocturnal wild boar species. Drone technology maintains aerial perspective above the ground surface, which lets farmers identify boar activity areas that are hard to observe at regular viewing heights. Living things release detectable infrared radiation, which thermal imaging cameras can identify through their sensors. Through this technology, farmers can easily identify warm wild boar signatures, separated from cooler crops, which could also exist in dark conditions. Drones with these cameras can quickly and effectively survey large areas and gain a complete view of boar activity on a farm. This is significantly more time efficient and less invasive than ground scouting. This type of scouting typically takes hours of walking or driving, which scares the animals and makes them harder to find. Drones can scout hundreds of acres in a tiny part of the time and do it with little disturbance. In the long run, drone video can be used to identify boar movement and habitat use patterns, which further refine trapping procedures. Moreover, live video streaming from camera-equipped drones, including thermal imaging, allows farmers to observe boar activity without alerting them. Such data on feeding habits, social structure, and movement patterns can also be utilized to inform trapping operations. The ability to recognize various age classes and the presence of piglets is also crucial to targeting entire sounders. Observing the size and makeup of the sounder can help farmers choose the size and type of trap to use. The possibility of automated trapping systems in conjunction with drone technology is also being investigated. Such systems may have the potential to decrease human observation needs and enable quicker responses to boar activity. The Judas pig method, while appearing straightforward, depends on an intimate knowledge of wild boar social behavior. The success of the method is because of the powerful social relationships within a sounder, including the maternal relationships between sows and their young. The method takes advantage of the boar's natural desire to remain together, to be safe, and to socialize. The selection and collaring process of the Judas pig is important. Ideally, the selected animal is a female, since sows are usually the center of a sounder. The pig should also look healthy and well-adjusted to a group. A pig that looks lonely or hurt may not be easily accepted back into a sounder. After the pig is captured, a tracking collar is applied, which uses either GPS or VHF technology. Tracking of pig location becomes possible through the use of adjustable tracking collars that farmers can use. GPS tracking collars transmit precise location data through satellite or cellular platforms, but VHF tracking collars rely on the farmer being at specific range to obtain a signal. The decision for collar choice depends on price point together with battery operation duration and ground conditions. The Judas pig release is an important process. The aim is for the pig to join its original sounder or a new group. Farmers monitor the pig's movements closely to determine the whereabouts of the whole sounder. This can take days or even weeks, and it needs patience and regular monitoring. The Judas pig's movement can be unpredictable, and it can take time for it to rejoin other boars. Farmers should be able to overcome the temptation of setting a trap too early, as this would disperse the sounder and lower the efficacy of the method. After the position of the sounder is established, the farmers can then set up a large corral trap around the sounder. The Judas pig, being among the sounder, will follow the others into the trap, by nature. This focus strategy greatly maximizes the possibility of getting the whole family unit, which is much more efficient than getting them individually sporadically. Catching complete sounders stops the rest of the population from still procreating and causing more destruction. The ethics of the Judas pig technique are often raised. However, supporters argue that it is a much more humane and efficient way of managing sounder populations than non-selective trapping methods, which have the potential to catch and stress unwanted animals. The end result is to minimize the total amount of suffering and environmental impact from wild boar overpopulation. The strain on the Judas pig itself is alleviated by making sure it is fit and released back into nature. Aside from these main tactics, the integrated method used by Texas farmers is central to their success. They tend to use more than one approach in combination to make them most effective. For instance, tactical fencing can be used to guide boars towards tactically placed corral traps. This leads to a circumstance where the boars naturally find themselves in the trapping locations. Strategic fencing entails the determination of major entry points to vulnerable zones and the building of strong barriers. Various forms of fencing, such as electric fences, woven wire fences, and even temporary fencing, are employed based on the particular circumstances and the intensity of boar pressure. Electric fences can be effective as a deterrent, particularly when well baited to prompt the boars to touch the wires. Wire mesh fences offer a more physical barrier, and short-term fencing can serve to route boar movement within localized areas. Regular care and the absence of breaks or vulnerabilities increase the effectiveness of fences. Boars are unusually good at locating and taking advantage of vulnerabilities in fences. Habitat modification is a longer-term preventative strategy. By modifying land use to decrease food levels and cover, farmers can make their property less inviting to wild boars. This could include the removal of thick underbrush, water management, and the use of farm practices that reduce spilled grain or other available food sources. Decreasing access to consistent food and water sources can have a tangible effect on boar populations in the long term. Community involvement maximizes the effectiveness of single efforts. Local wildlife management associations and farmer cooperatives allow for information sharing, concerted trapping activities, and combining resources. This landscape-scale strategy is essential in controlling an extremely wide-ranging and mobile species such as wild boars. Concerted action can avoid boars merely switching from one property to another in reaction to control efforts. Education and research are continuous processes. Texas farmers actively seek out and share information about the latest research, best management practices, and innovative trapping technologies. Cooperation with universities and wildlife agencies refines current methods and creates new ones. Workshops, field days, and web-based resources all play crucial roles in transferring knowledge and enabling farmers with the tools and information necessary to manage wild boar effectively. This ongoing learning and adaptation are crucial in the relentless fight against feral hogs. The success of these masterful strategies can be seen in the mounting success rates of wild boar control operations in much of Texas. Although complete elimination of feral hogs is a long-term and complicated objective, such focused and creative strategies are progressively lessening their harm to agriculture and the environment. The capacity to selectively target entire sounders, employ technology for improved surveillance and remote operation, and tap into an appreciation of boar behavior is a paradigm shift in wild boar management. The shift is away from less efficient and more indiscriminate practices to more strategic and ecologically prudent ones. The resourcefulness and flexibility of the Texas farmers to this ecological and economic threat stand as a role model for how human innovation was brought to the management of wildlife. The capacity to adapt the old with the new represents evidence of the initiative to secure the livelihood of Texas farmers as well as their country's natural assets. Such willingness reflects the potential of indigenous and local knowledge for managing natural assets and their complexities. There you have it then, an even deeper look at the impressive and highly effective strategies Texas farmers are using to outwit and catch wild boars. The fusion of smart planning, technology advancements, and keen insight into the ways animals behave is indeed having an impact in this fight that continues to rage on. What are your opinions regarding these sophisticated techniques? Do you have any ideas of comparable obstacles and creative breakthroughs in other regions of the world? Do let us have your comments in the section below. In the event that this detailed examination captured your imagination, do give a huge thumbs up to this video and subscribe to our channel for further comprehensive perspectives at the conjunction of human ingenuity and the natural world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time with another interesting topic. Keep curious and keep exploring.